G'day everybody, how you going today? It is so good to see you. I do hope that you are super well. And today I'm bringing you some of the latest news from around the web. Now, when I first planned to record this video, it was just going to be a quick one about the fact that the Z50 has had some firmware updates in regards to autofocus. Then I had a bit of a quick look around the web and there was so much more to talk about. Well, this is going to be a more standard length video. So let's dive right into all the latest news that's caught my eye from around the web in the last week or so. Alright, well today we're going to start off with Sony, and in an unusual move from Sony, they are telegraphing the release of a 300mm 2.8 lens. And this lens is more than 1 year away. Now, this is pretty unheard of across the industry. It happens here and there, but not very often. And the only thing that I can really get from this is Nikon have been putting out a lot of long lenses. They put out 4 astonishing lenses in 2022 to meet the birding, wildlife and sports photographers. Perhaps Sony are feeling a little bit of the pinch around all of that. It's hard to say, but here they are telegraphing a release that some suggest we won't see until sometime 2024. This will be a GM 300mm 2.8 coming for Sony. Well, not that soon. Now, this lens is so far off that Sony has not shared any details about the lens other than 300mm 2.8. And of course, we haven't seen what it looks like, and we have no idea what it's going to cost. There you have it. That is the latest from Sony. And a correction from my previous video, I did say that there was a rumoured 24-70 f4 for Sony coming soon. Well, indeed, that lens was coming soon. It is now formally announced, and it's actually a 20-70 f4 lens. Now, one of my favourite YouTubers of all time, because the guy's an absolute pro, he goes into the detail, he makes beautiful videos, and he's hilarious. iphonedo, he has been a long time Sony fan, and he has reviewed this lens and says it's absolutely stunning. So indeed, the 20-70 f4 for Sony is out now. And it's priced at $1,098 US. And in Australia, the lens is $2,000. One of the highlights of this lens mentioned by iphonedo is the fact that even if you use electronic stabilization, which crops the frame, because it's 20 mils, you still get a wide enough field of view for vlogging. So one could perhaps suggest that the 20mm is 20mm so that you can crop it so it can go down to 24mm or something like that and still be useful. This lens is not a GM lens, it is a G level lens. And one of iphonedo's other favourite aspects of this lens was the fact that the minimum focus distance is extraordinarily close and the lens is small and light. Minimum focus distance is 9.8 inches or 25 centimetres. And the lens is very light at 17.2 ounces or 488 grams. And back to the Z50 firmware update news. Yes, indeed, the Z50 has a new firmware update, taking it from 2.3 to 2.40. And this update focuses around, well, pun intended, focus. What's included in this firmware update? Eye detection AF is now available during video recording. There is improved eye detection performance for auto area AF and improved the refresh rate of the focus points displayed in live view during subject tracking and face eye detection AF. It's great to see a camera that's this old, and if memory serves me correctly, this camera is from 2019, so it's now something like 4 years old. Of course, it has had updates, major updates, because we are in the 2s, and this 2.4, I think, should be warmly received by all Nikon users, and especially Z50 users, because it is further refinements in autofocus. And like I said in my last video, the fact that Nikon seem to be touching on pretty much all of the cameras that they still sell today, and they're doing tweaking. So I think that bodes well for cameras that maybe haven't been tweaked recently. Cameras like the Z5, the Z62, the Z7 II, although they did have an update late last year. I know people want to see more, so let's hope there's more to come. But this Z50 firmware update focused around focus, yeah, that's cool. Sony Japan has announced that there will be price increases from February 1st across many cameras and lenses. The full list is available on Sony Japan's website. Whether this is going to affect the rest of the world or not, we don't know at this point in time. I made a video about this topic about 2.5 years ago, talking about the fact that I believed the price of cameras across the board, every brand, would slowly creep up. My reason for this at the time being that the industry is contracting, and there's a point where companies have to turn over a baseline of income simply to keep the doors open. Thus, if camera sales and lens sales stay around the same moving forward, then prices won't have to move too much. But of course, right now we had a problem that we didn't have 2.5 years ago, which is global inflation. It's hard to know how long this will go on for. Everything is cyclic, absolutely everything. So at some point it will stop. But in the meantime, prices may well continue to creep up. And it may not just be Sony. Although we do know, for example, that Nikon has done price increases last year. And we can certainly see those price increases. And I believe if we were to talk to Canon users, for instance, they would say things are not getting cheaper as well. Price increases. Sony Japan, they're on the move this way. And if you love yourself a little bit of a super zoom, yes indeed, Sigma have a 60 to 600mm lens released, which is for the E mount and for the L mount. The Sigma 60 to 600 F 4.5 to 6.3 DG OS HSM Sports is recently announced by Sigma for both E mount and L mount cameras. This lens offers a complete 10 times zoom range and is designed for sports photography and wildlife photography. This lens is weather sealed and has a built-in image stabilization system of up to 7.5 stops. Additionally, the lens has a minimum focus distance of 2.6 meters and a maximum magnification of 1:4. And I think that's a lot of lens for the price, and it is $1,949 US. And in Fujifilm news, I am personally excited to announce the fact that Fujifilm has put out a firmware update for the X-H2s. Yes! Where is it? Oh, there it is. Right. This camera right here. Yes, it's had a firmware update. Let's have a quick read through that. Massive AI focus update. Fujifilm has just released a major firmware update for the X-H2s mirrorless camera, although the X-H2s camera is already known for its fast AF system. Specifically AI tracking of the camera, the X-H2s camera already has a variety of subject detection auto modes, such as airplanes, animals, automobiles, bicycles, birds, human eye, human face, motorcycles, and trains. Now, Fuji engineers added 2 new AI AF modes to the X-H2s system, as well as they have also upscaled the autofocus algorithm for tracking fast-moving subjects. The new firmware version 3.00 now includes subject detection modes for insects and drones, with the airplane and bird modes capable of recognizing and focusing on drones and insects respectively. Fujifilm has also improved overall subject detection modes when shooting in challenging lighting situations, and AI AF algorithm to better track subjects moving at high speeds. Other improvements include support for Fujifilm's TG-BT1 tripod grip. Thanks, Fuji, for the 3.00 update for the Fuji X-H2s. In Canon news, it's good to have some Canon news. Yes, indeed, soon we'll be shipping their 135mm 1.8. It's going to be out, which is exciting because I think Nikon is also expecting to get their 135 1.8 out this year. popular lens. Can't wait to see it. I was just in a secondhand store looking at a Sigma 135, and I think it was a 2.0 or something, and it was quite a large lens. So I'm looking forward to seeing these large 135 1.8 lenses for the RF and Z mounts. The Canon RF 135 1.8 IS USM is soon to be shipping. And to close out this episode, we are going to talk about flashing. Yes, indeed, this thing here, these are flashes. And the fact that Nikon is going to cease production on the SB500, and it is going to temporarily suspend production on the SB5000. Now, there's been a lot of speculation. I've not been one of those ones that speculated about it because I stopped using these sorts of flashes quite a long time ago, probably over a decade ago. Only one reason why, and it was this reason right here. Very simple. The fact that you needed to have to keep putting batteries in them. Now, I try to be as environmental as possible, so I would use rechargeable AA batteries, but then what I found is they would not always charge that well, they'd be a bit dodgy, and they just simply weren't reliable enough. So ultimately, I moved over to an Elinchrom battery-based system, a rechargeable battery-based system, and then 4 or 5 years ago, I moved over to this here. This is the Profoto B10. Love these lights, love the interface, love how they work. These things are just gorgeous, looks good, can be controlled from the phone. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. I know these sort of lights are common now, but the fact that you've got basically built-in rechargeable batteries is just, for me, what made this sort of thing just... And they're not as powerful and so on and so... I mean, they're different eras of technology, let's face it. But this battery here, this tiny little battery here on the Profoto, it can give you lots of power, lots of results, quickly replaceable. You can charge, you can run this off mains power or off battery. It eliminates. Look, it's all just fantastic. So there is speculation from some, and as I said, it's something that I just haven't thought about because I've been running these sorts of things for about a decade, is the fact that, is Nikon going to continue to make flashes? I have absolutely no idea, but they are certainly discontinuing one. That's the SB500, and one is being temporarily suspended from manufacturing. That's the SB5000. So that would suggest that that flash is coming back into business and it will keep being made. Will they make anything new? Who knows? Maybe these flashes do all we need to do. I can remember these were fantastic. I could have... I don't know, I used up to, I think, 4 on a shoot all around the environment, and they're firing away. And I still actually use these sometimes to fire flashes when there's radio interference and we're just going to do it optically with an actual flash. So they still get a bit of a workout now and again. It's just as a master controller, just literally creating a flash. And that's it for this week's news. Now, tell me what you think of the firmware updates. What do you think of Sony's 300mm announcement? Are you going to go for the Canon 135 1.8 or the Nikon 135 1.8, which is on the roadmap? Let me know what you think of all of this and more. What's going on for you in this world? How is 2023 looking for you? It's so good to see you. I can't wait to see you soon. And please, if this is your first time here, I would love to see you again, so please do subscribe, please share, and please like. And don't forget to jump on my website, grab yourself a calendar. It helps support the channel. Okay, bye for now.